Hey everybody, welcome back to Electric Cafe. Today's album review is on the band Lush's 1990 album Gala. Um, Gala was a sort of the first American release for the band. Just the year before they released Scar, which is right here, which is basically a four-track EP, and then um, what they did for the American audience is they took another one of their EPs and kind of combined Scar with that EP, added a couple additional tracks and a couple unreleased tracks, and there you have Gala, and that kind of became the first um, American release for the band. I was gonna review Scar, but considering it's only like four tracks, it was either do Gala or just go on to the second album. So I decided to review the second album. Review Gala, which I don't have. I have on the well, I have four of the tracks here, but I have the box set that came out in 2016 of all their albums and EPs. So I have heard it before. I do know it, but let's get into the review. I had a lot to say about some of these songs. Um, I like Lush. It's um, it's uh, it's kind of like people. Is it shoegaze really? I don't know if it's just like indie rock because I don't know if they're really like that laid back. Is it dream pop? I don't know. Is it indie pop? Probably more so than anything else. I don't know if I really call them shoegaze. They aren't kind of moping around. I mean, it's more energetic. There is some sort of ballad stuff, but it's still, I would say, more on the upbeat note, anyways. Um, there's a couple singers on here, Miki and Emma. I believe Miki left the band after Gala, or it was the next album, and then it was just Emma being the main singer. Um, I think unfortunately I think it was their drummer passed away around like '96, and that sort of ended up breaking up the band eventually. I don't think they were not that they weren't necessarily getting on, but maybe just kind of maybe um, I don't know if there's really any kind of. I mean, there's certainly the loss of their drummer was sort of the probably the last. I wouldn't say last straw because they weren't like in any kind of tension or anything like that. But maybe just sort of did a couple albums, weren't really kind of elevating in success. The scene, the industry was changing by '96. They've been out for like 7, 8 years now, so just kind of a lot of bands kind of died in the late '90s, and then they've come back. And Lush is a band like that. When I think of Gala and just their style overall, it's a very unique sound, and in some ways copied a lot now. When you think of like indie pop bands, like Japanese, I think it's Japanese Breakfast, right? Is kind of reminds me of Lush a little bit. I think that was Japanese Breakfast, right? Or Japanese, or I saw them in concert. They opened up for Talking Heads in like 2018. It was like Japanese Breakfast or something like that. I know they got kind of big right around that time, but I think that's the name of them. But a lot of bands can definitely, in some ways, point their. I mean, if they're indie rock or anything like that, they can kind of point their style to Lush, or maybe even the Cranes. Even the Cocteau Twins. But again, this is more indie pop. But you know, they hit some really good high notes out on song wise on this album because it's a compilation that might help. Um, there's 13 tracks on here. The first one's Sweetness and Light. Really nice introduction to the sounds, kind of smoother, atmospheric. Overall, a different start than Scar, but ideally, I think it's a better sound than starting on. I think on this one it was Baby Talk. So I think it's good that they sort of started on their first EP versus the Scar is kind of the middle of the album. So I think chronologically it's better, but also sound wise it makes it a little bit more cohesive in my opinion than starting out on Baby Talk with Scar, which isn't necessarily my favorite song. There's Sweetness and Light is a really strong beginning for it, and it's three and a quarter stars. I have that song. Sunbathing, I have 3 stars. Really nice acoustic, cool effects, nice layering, really nice song. Sort of a change of pace considering their other songs. I wish there was another song like Sunbathing on the album to really help balance out the album because I really like Sunbathing too. 3 stars. Breeze is pretty good, 2 and a quarter stars. Deluxe is good, 2 stars. Leaves Me Cold, 1 and 3 quarters. Downer is starting to look back up after a couple of pretty good tracks. Downer's 3 stars. Thought Forms is one of my favorite 3 and a quarter stars. It's more to my liking, more melodic, ethereal, nice harmonies, good chorus. I really like Emma's voice in this track. Um, Baby Talk's okay. It's aggressive and has a strong groove for the band. I think it's energetic. Um, it's sort of announced their, because it's the first track on here, it really kind of announced their sound in a way for first people who first picked up Scar. But again, I think Sweetness and Light is a better way to start off their first album, and I commit it makes sense while it was there. It was like that for the American press or American audience. Not track number 9 is my favorite on the album, Scarlet. This sound really works for them. It's a little bit abrasive, kind of epic aggressiveness, balanced with the more chill, with a very good chorus sound. 3.5 stars. Track number 10, Bitter. It's okay. I got 1 star. Second Sight, track number 11, more laid back, more atmospheric. Again, I like when they're doing this with the voices and they're layering the guitars more. 2.5 stars. Ethereal, I believe that's how you pronounce it. Track 12. It's probably the best example of their sound on this album. It's actually my favorite. This one I actually rated higher. 3 and 3/4 stars. The guitars together and then separate, and the singing is great. It's just this has everything of their sound in my opinion, and it's nice and tight, and again, I think this is the best example I would play of their music to somebody who asked who was Lush. And then the last track, Hey 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 Helen, I believe this is the ABBA cover song. It's okay, 1.5 stars. And so I add up the stars. 33 stars divided by 13 is a 2.53. So it's a good album, and it makes sense. I give it a 64 out of 100. Gave it a couple extra points for the sound. It's right in between good and very good, at 64. As far as the opportunities, I really can't think of anything of the opportunities. Is 13 songs a little long for an album? Maybe. I feel like, again, there should be maybe another song like Sunbathing or maybe even Second Sight, which is a little bit more different, a little bit more atmospheric. Um, it's I think that would have balanced out the album a little bit more. But certainly some really high notes with the track Scarlet, Thought Forms, and yeah, just a nice and solid, concise songs. Nothing, too that doesn't feel out of place, or there's a couple of okay songs for sure. I got 2 that are actually 3 songs that are under 2 stars as being okay, but I can't fault that. It still plays like a good album for me. Again, 64 out of 100. The Lush first X compilation, Gala. And so that's my review on Gala. Again, this is the Scar one, so don't confuse the two. But check out Lush, Gala by Lush. See what you think, and or tell me your opinions on the band or the album. What are your thoughts on Lush or Gala? All right, thanks so much.